On the topic of feeds and news and where people get their news and all that stuff, I don't want to make too drastic of a leap, but there is a story that I really want to talk about, and I think that Fishy also is interested and ready to get into this one. But one of our, for Free Radical Network, we started our group after being involved with a lot of internet radio stuff and Tony Katz's show and Larry O'Connor and also Dana Lash. And Dana has been just a real. It's been really cool to see Dana make the move from where she was being on on radio in just St. Louis in that area to being a huge radio host, somebody who is actually a contender in a lot of big markets, and is a contributor to Fox News and has her own, I think, show on the Blaze. I don't have the Blaze TV, so I don't really know about these things, but she's made it. It's comfortable to say that she's absolutely crossed over to becoming a real, legit media presence. And she and Glenn Beck and Ted Cruz, I might add, went down to a border town in Texas, and they were participating in a charitable effort, uh, you know, to aid the horrible conditions that some of the border crisis kids are in, and it's just a whole big thing.
Oh, and I think we should say that we consider them horrible conditions because they
Yeah, oh
really
yeah,
are. I mean, but it's horrible conditions on the American scale.
sure.
For those kids, it could quite possibly be that the fact that they've got a non-dirt floor, it it's probably even what we consider horrible conditions is possibly a step up. And it's certainly a step up from what they experienced in their transport from Guatemala and Honduras on the way. But it's still, by our standards, it's horrible because they're sleeping on the floor and eating next to a toilet. So,
Well, not only that, but all of there are a lot of bad things going on, and a lot
yeah,
of aid really needs to be rendered in order to keep these kids not having infectious diseases and all sorts of other bad things happening.
yeah,
And I think that we've talked about this topic on the refinery before a few times, and I think the consensus that we've come to. I mean, maybe I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think that personally, it's become apparent that the correct thing to do is to say, hey, of course, this was a crime that was committed coming across the border illegally, all of that stuff. But these kids still need to be taken care of. We need to figure out how to address the situation. And right now, we have people who are, giving charitable aid to these kids
hmm
and are are becoming bad guys in the process. Not only bad guys, but elitist, rich snobs, according to an American Thinker column, which I've had a lot of good stuff. I've read a lot of good stuff on American Thinker.
lots of good stuff.
I don't know exactly what went on and what happened that allowed this to be a post there, but it is a post. And what's even more confusing to me is that not only was it posted on the American Thinker and it's still up there. It's Americans Protest Illegals as High Profile Conservatives Pander by M. Catherine Evans.
I've never heard of M. Catherine Evans.
I've never heard of her either, but not only was it posted to the American Thinker, it was excerpted onto Breitbart.com. And it says some really, really mean, nasty things about Dana Lash and about Glenn Beck. conveniently, I think, personally, not mentioning Ted Cruz in an ill light there,
Interesting.
but you know, the pandering thing. Anyway, Dana Loesch came out with a response to it. She posted on her site that will also be in the all of these links will be in the thing below when the video uploads. But just a quote from the article that is bashing Dana. While we regular cash-strapped taxpayers concerned about the well-being of our country stood on the overpasses Saturday protesting the total breakdown of our borders, where were our few stalwart conservative spokespeople and politicians? They were holding anti-illegal immigration signs with "We the People" on the national day, or I'm sorry, were they holding anti-immigration signs with "We the People" on the national day of protesting against immigration reform, amnesty, and border search? I'm sorry, I think I read the. No, that's the right one. But it's the what it's trying to imply is that Dana Loesch is not a regular cash-strapped taxpayer concerned about immigration. So it's saying that she's rich, and she's not a regular, American taxpayer. It's all of the. It feels like an attack from a leftist, quite
Well,
frankly. I mean, in my opinion.
and it's the classic leftist false dichotomy. You're either taking care of children or you're protesting illegals. And if you're not protesting the illegals, then you're obviously in favor of open borders or something. It's like your choice was to either take care of children or to stand on the overpasses and protest illegals. You couldn't, it's not valid to do either one, to do anything but one of those two, and there is no in between. There's no way to be, if you're feeding the children, you obviously can't also be opposed to illegals. I mean, it's so intellectually dishonest. I can't even see straight. We get all over liberals for using these kind of logical fallacies.
Right, right. And may I say that when we're talking about private charity with humanitarian aid in a crisis situation,
Exactly.
in a place that's being overwhelmed with cash-strapped counties and resources that they don't have, that they're waiting on some sort of relief. Either they're going to get it from the federal government or the private sector, cash-strapped taxpayers, are going to pitch in. Which would you prefer? To show that the federal government can't do this as well as a private organization? Now what we're seeing that's getting a little bit interesting is that private organizations are taking federal dollars and then becoming a vessel through which federal dollars are passing into aid situations. Okay, we can argue about that all day long.
Right.
But the fact is that Mercury One was doing a very privately funded, charitable, humanitarian, emergency relief effort, and at the same time a fact-finding mission to go down and interview and talk with the people that are dealing intimately with this border situation, which everyone in the right knows that the president has not, in fact, done at all. And to imply that conservatives are so limited in their abilities that they cannot chew gum and walk at the same time, that they cannot help children in an emergency as well as advocate for the government actually doing the responsibilities that it's supposed to do and carry those out, is ridiculous. And any conservative that's got that position, I'm begging them to reconsider that position, because it is harmful, it is divisive, it is dishonest, it is completely outside of logic and reason based on everything they say on the conservative side that they support. And I'm trying very carefully to measure my words because I am livid that this has happened. And lots of bad words are not making it through the filter at this moment, for which I'm sure everyone is grateful. But if anybody wants to hear the other words, give me a call later, and I'll let you in on all the, yeah.
Fishy uncensored, fishy after dark.